I could talk about a win of some Philadelphia team at least. The Philadelphia Phillies. They get a win in this first series, in this first game, in this 4-game set over the Colorado Rockies, and a bit of a convincing win. The Phillies took advantage of a lot of errors, though, by the Colorado Rockies, a ton of them. Gene Segura took, advantage of, some good slides there. A lot of infield mistakes from the Rockies. That one, what the outfield mistake on the Kyle Schwarber fly ball in the center field that just dropped in between two outfielders for the Rockies. It was just like, huh? How the hell does that happen? Between Grichuk and Blackman, like, how the hell does that happen? Like, literally, I guess both of them like didn't know to call the ball off or something like that, and just dropped it. Hey, it scored 2 runs for the Phillies. So at that point, I can care less. They scored runs in that instance. Kyle Gibson gave up a couple of home runs, but basically, besides that, I think he was pretty solid in this game. Pretty solid. Phillies took advantage. Like I said, they just took advantage of the mistakes by the Rockies, and that's, thankfully they did. Thankfully they did. And that's something, definitely to look forward to. Hopefully that's a win that you can build off of. So yeah, pretty convincing win from this Phillies team, basically just taking advantage of everything possible. Bryce Harper goes deep in this game as well. So overall, just thankfully a win to feel good about the Phillies. Just thankfully, after, last night's debacle with all the Angel Hernandez shit. And then seeing his umpire scorecard today. Oh boy, it was bad. It was bad. But still, overall, really good win by this Phillies team, taking advantage of basically all the Rockies' mistakes in this game. And that was nice to see from that aspect. So before we get into this full recap of this Phillies game, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports. And the most important thing you can do is hit that subscribe button. I will greatly appreciate that. If you're looking for all the latest Philadelphia sports news, recaps, and events, this is the place to be at, depending on the outcome, great or miserable, depending on that outcome. And if you're a current viewer of the channel, I'm grateful for you being here that long and looking to continue that down the road. Also, if you're looking for tickets to upcoming sporting events, concerts, whatever you can think of, use the code TTP Sports down below for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. So that could be tickets to any of the upcoming home games in this Phillies homestand, or, just home games in general. It's a deal you can't pass up there. Hopefully the Sixers, maybe they get the round 2, hopefully, and it's not game 7 at the Wells Fargo Center. Get yourself some Sixers tickets, hopefully. It's definitely a deal you can't pass up on. $20 in your pocket. Use that for parking, use that for concessions, anything you can think of. So use the code TTP Sports for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek today. So the Phillies win this first game of the 4-game set between them and the Colorado Rockies by a score of 8-2. The Phillies are now 7-10 to start the season in the first 17 games of the season. Still, not panicking, but still, I'm not going to discuss that today because the Phillies got a win and we could talk about something positive. Overall, really good win. They took advantage of a lot of Rockies' mistakes. The Rockies had 3 errors in this game. But first, the game, didn't get off to the best start that you thought of, because first pitch to just first pitch of this ball game was not the best. To Connor Joe, bomb into the stands. First pitch from Kyle Gibson. 1-0 Rockies lead, 1 pitch into this ball game, and it's like instantly you're like, oh god, that doesn't feel good. Oh god, this is gonna be a loss. I'm like, but no. Kyle Gibson gets out of that inning, only allowing the 1 run. Phillies have their chance to do some things in the bottom of the first inning. Rhys Hoskins got on with an infield single, and then Castellanos got a single as well. So you got 2 guys on for JT Realmuto. You get a little bit of a bases loaded situation. An error in the infield. So you got a 2-out bases loaded jam for Kyle Schwarber. Strikes out. So there's another bases loaded situation for this team, and they don't come up with anything. But I feel like the more chances they keep getting with runners in scoring position, they're going to cash in. And it's weird, too, because they brought up a stat in the game as well that the Phillies are actually hitting over 300 with runners in scoring position. And I'm like, it doesn't feel like that. It definitely doesn't. But I feel like, yes, the more opportunities you get with all these runners in scoring position, you're eventually going to cash in on some of those opportunities. And thankfully, later in the ball game, they managed to do that. But then we go into the top of the second inning. The leadoff batter for them, Grichuk, he hits a home run as well to make it a 2-0 Rockies lead. And then Kyle Gibson manages to get out of the rest of that inning. And then he basically was really solid from that point on. Bottom of the second for the Phillies, they don't do anything there. Bottom of the third, that's when we get some runs on the board. Rhys Hoskins gets a single. He was really good in the batter's box today. A really good performance from him when he definitely needed it. Bryce Harper almost grounded into a double play, though. Managed to beat the out. So now you got 2 outs in that situation because Castellanos then struck out the next at bat. But then you get 2 outs here. JT Realmuto manages. Oh, actually, it wasn't a double play situation for Bryce Harper because they tried to turn 2, but then there was an error at second base by Iglesias. The ball was thrown to him. He just dropped it. So now you got a 1 out, actually, no, 1 out in that situation. Then you get 2 outs with Nick Castellanos striking out. Then you get a JT Realmuto double, scores Hoskins, makes it a 2-1 ball game. And then you get the situation with Grichuk and Blackman in the outfield. Kyle Schwarber sends a fly ball to center field. None of those guys call the ball for some odd reason. They just stand there looking like, what are we doing here? The ball drops in between them, scores Hoskins and scores JT. It's a double for Kyle Schwarber. Makes it a 3-2 ball game. So, Kyle Schwarber definitely, got away with one right there. But hopefully that's something for him to feel good about in that situation. So Phillies go up 3-2 in the bottom of the third. Kyle Gibson, basically, like I said, after those 2 home runs he gave up, he was basically solid the rest of the night. Phillies don't do anything in their half of the fourth, but then we go into the fifth. Bryce Harper leading off. First pitch of that inning sends a missile into left center field. Gone. 4-2 Phillies lead there. 17 feet on the bomb from Harper. Gibson in the top of the 6th inning. He walks Bryant. There was a couple of pitches during that at bat as well, during the Chris Bryant at bat, where there should have been a strike 3 called, and they didn't happen. He ended up walking Bryant with 2 outs, and then eventually Joe Girardi took him out to face CJ Cron, and then Dominguez manages to get out of that situation. Go to the top of the 7th inning. A little bit of, runner situation for the Rockies. Dominguez leads off the inning by hitting Grichuk, and then also allows a single, so you got 2 men on with no outs in that situation. Familia comes into the ball game. Diaz fouls out, and then Rogers grounds into a huge double play to end the inning in that threat from the Rockies. Then the Phillies respond in the bottom of the 7th inning. Gene Segura reaches on with an infield single, so another, fielding situation there from the Rockies. Rhys Hoskins then singles, so you get a first and third situation because Gene Segura manages to go to third base on a great sliding attempt because Chris Bryant had him out at third base. Somehow Gene Segura avoids the tag, brings back his right hand, puts the left hand in there on third base and manages to be safe. Bryce Harper then hits a sac fly. Rhys Hoskins moves over to third base while Gene Segura scores, so that makes it a 5-2 ball game. And then there was a wild pitch during the Castellanos at bat, which scores Rhys Hoskins, makes it 6-2. Nick Castellanos works out a walk. JT gets a single, so it's another 2 men on situation. Kyle Schwarber walks, so you get the bases loaded with 1 out in this inning for Alec Bohm. Working out the at-bat, had a couple of hittable pitches, swung at some bad pitches as well, but he works the count, hits it over to third base, and it goes right under the glove of the third baseman into left field, scores a couple of runs, scores 2, makes it an 8-2 ball game. Then Camargo grounds into a double play, but the damage is already done as the Phillies lead by a score of 8-2, and that's basically how the rest of the game would go. Norwood comes out in the 8th inning, does his job, and then Bailey Falter comes out in the 9th, and he does his job after allowing a single. Then he eventually gets a double play to end off the ball game. Phillies win 8-2, and looking at the lineup right here, Gene Segura in the leadoff spot goes 1 for 4 with a walk. Rhys Hoskins, fantastic. They had to play for him. This is something that he definitely needed. He goes 3 for 5 with 2 runs scored. Bryce Harper goes 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored and 2 RBIs. Nick Castellanos, he goes 1 for 3 with a run scored. JT Realmuto, he goes 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs scored. Kyle Schwarber, 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Alec Bohm goes 0 for 4 with an RBI, technically because it was on an error, so that technically does not count as a hit. Johan Camargo goes 0 for 4, and Matt Bierling goes 0 for 4. Runners in scoring position, the Phillies were 2 for 9. And looking at the rest of the Phillies stats, the pitching-wise, Kyle Gibson, like I said, was very solid basically after giving up those 2 home runs early in the ballgame. Went 5 2/3 innings, 3 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts on 94 pitches. So you're starting to see some of these pitchers get stretched out a little bit, going above the 90 pitch mark. So I would assume in Kyle Gibson's next start, maybe he'll stretch more to at least maybe 100 pitches. So we just got to see what goes from there. Sir Anthony Dominguez only pitched a third of an inning, allowed a couple of hits, and his, coming out in the 7th inning. So it wasn't really pretty from that standpoint on 14 pitches. Familia does his job. Norwood does his job as well, and Bailey Falter does the job in the 9th inning too. And hey, basically just a good win by this Phillies team, taking advantage of a lot of mistakes by the Colorado Rockies. And that's definitely more than you can ask for. So, looking at, the rest of this series, 4 games set with the Rockies, you got 3 more games left. And looking at the pitching matchups for the rest of this series, you're going to have Zack Eflin on the mound tomorrow against Marquez. You're going to have Ranger Suarez on the mound Wednesday. And you're going to have Zach Wheeler on the mound Thursday. And then this series with the Mets coming up, actually, you're going to have Aaron Nola on the mound Friday against Miguel. You're going to have Kyle Gibson on the mound Saturday, which is another nationally televised game that's going to be on Fox, going up against Max Scherzer. And then Sunday for Sunday Night Baseball, it's going to be Zack Eflin going up against Bassett. So, good win by this Phillies team, but get more. Get more. Win this series against the Rockies. You need a series win after losing the previous few series. You need to build some confidence right now. Like I said, still not worried. It's still very early, but it's time to get it going. It's time to wake this lineup up. It's time to get some wins here, win some series, and that's all that matters from this standpoint. So, it's going to do it for this video, everyone. What are your thoughts on this Phillies game? What are your thoughts on this win? And looking forward to the rest of the series. Do not forget to leave the And also, do not forget to drop a like on this video. Do not forget to check out the Painted Lines, which I'm a part of. The links are down in the description below. Also, don't forget to check out the links to BrodesMedia, the Florida Pod merch website, and also Flyers Nitty Gritty. All that good stuff is down in the description below. Do not forget to check those out. And like I said at the beginning of the video, the most important thing you do is hit that sub button and also use the code TTPSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. And I will see you next time. It's probably a good time to end this, though, because the Wi-Fi is acting up a little bit. So I will see you next time, guys.